Are you struggling to pass the CompTIA Security Plus exam? Or maybe you just want to test your knowledge before the big day? Well, you are in the right place. Today we are diving into 50 must-know Security Plus practice questions with full explanation to help you crush the exam on your first try. Whether you are prepping for the test or just sharpening your skills, these questions will challenge you and reinforce what really matters. Stick around till the end because I will explain not just the answers but why they are correct. And if you are serious about passing, I also have a free full CompTIA Security Plus course right here on this channel. Check the description for the link. Alright, let's jump in. Your Security Plus success starts now. Question number one: to enhance the security of their virtualized environment and prevent VM escape attacks, an organization is implementing several security measures. Which of the following actions should be included in their security strategy? Select two options, and the options are: option A, enforcing resource allocation limits for virtual machines. Option B, regularly patching the hypervisor and virtualization software. Option C, disabling unused virtual network adapters. And option D, implementing a zero trust security model. And the correct options are option B, regularly patching the hypervisor and virtualization software. And option C, disabling unused virtual network adapters. And the explanation is: so to defend against VM escape attacks where a malicious virtual machine breaks out of its sandbox to interact with the host or other VMs, organization should: number one, regularly patching the hypervisor and virtualization software. So this is the most critical measure. VM escape attacks often exploit vulnerabilities in the hypervisor. So keeping the hypervisor and virtualization software updated closes known security holes. And number two, disabling unused virtual network adapters. This reduces the attack surface by preventing unnecessary communication channels between VMs and external networks and minimizes potential for lateral movement or data exfiltration. So let me further clarify it with the help of this diagram. So this is how the virtualization works. So at the base we have the hardware, on top of the hardware we have the hypervisor, and on that hypervisor then we make different virtual machines. So basically the hypervisor is the controlling mechanism or the operating system that control resources to the VMs as well as their communication, and these VMs are not supposed to directly interact with the hypervisor or with the other VMs without any control mechanism. So if due to any security vulnerabilities the VMs are able to escape from this sandbox environment and the VM is able to access the host, that is hypervisor or other VMs, then these type of attacks are known as VM escape attacks, because the VM is able to escape from its own sandbox environment. Question number two: a financial services company is designing a new transaction processing system. The system must be capable of handling high volumes of transactions without any downtime and must also efficiently distribute processing loads. Considering the requirements of high availability, fault tolerance, and efficient load distribution, which of the following technologies should be implemented? Again, we have to select two options, and the options are: option A, load balancing; option B, clustering; option C, single server deployment; and option D, redundant power supply. And the correct options are option A, load balancing, and option B, clustering. And the explanation is, so for a high volume transaction processing system that requires high availability, fault tolerance, and efficient load distribution, the following technologies are essential. Number one, load balancing. The load balancing distributes incoming network or application traffic across multiple servers. This ensures efficient resource utilization, improves response times, and supports fault tolerance by rerouting traffic away from failed servers. What does this mean? This means that if we have, let's suppose, three servers, on the top we have load balancer. So the load balancer distribute traffic among these server. And if due to any reason one of the server fails, the traffic is no longer sent to this server, rather it is rerouted and distributed among the remaining servers. Number two, clustering. So clustering involves grouping multiple servers to work together as a single system. This provides high availability and fault tolerance, and if one server or node fails, other can take over without service interruption. Question number three, a large corporation recently deployed a new enterprise resource planning, that is ERP system. Post deployment, the IT team discovered compatibility issues with existing applications, causing disruptions in business operations. This situation highlights a failure in the change management process. What should be the primary focus to improve change management practices for future deployments? And the options are option A, conducting comprehensive user training sessions post deployment. Option B, increasing the budget for future IT projects to allow for more advanced solutions. Option C, implementing a thorough testing and validation phase before deployment. And option D, focusing exclusively on the speed of deployment to minimize downtime. And the correct option is option C, implementing a thorough testing and validation phase before deployment. And the explanation is, so the primary failure in this scenario is that compatibility issues with existing applications were not identified before deploying the new ERP system. This indicates that the testing and validation phase were either inadequate or skipped altogether. So a thorough pre-deployment testing phase helps identify compatibility and integration issues, simulate the production environment, and reduce the risk of post-deployment disruptions. So this is a core component of effective change management process. Question number 4, in determining the annualized loss expectancy, that is ALE, for various risks in a corporate network, what factors should the risk management team consider in their calculations? And we have to select two options. And the options are option A, the cost of cybersecurity insurance premiums. Option B, the potential financial impact of each identified risk. Option C, the frequency of occurrence for each identified risk. And option D, the budget available for implementing security controls. And the correct options are option B, the potential financial impact of each identified risk. And option C, the frequency of occurrence for each identified risk. So let me go through the explanation. So annualized loss expectancy, that is ALE, is calculated using the formula. So ALE is equal to SLE, that is single loss expectancy, multiplied by ARO, that is annualized rate of occurrence, where SLE, or single loss expectancy, is equal to the financial impact of a single occurrence of a risk, and ARO, that is annualized rate of occurrence, is equal to the expected frequency the risk will occur in a year. So together these give a monetary estimate of expected annual loss due to a specific risk. Question number 5. A company prevented direct access from the database administrator's workstation to the network segment that contains database servers. Which of the following should a database administrator use to access the database servers? And the options are option A, jump server, option B, radius, option C, HSM. HSM is hardware security module, and option D, load balancer. And the correct option is option A, jump server. So what is a jump server? A jump server, also called a jump host or a jump box, is a secure server that acts as an intermediary between you and the servers on a network. It's like a stepping stone you use to securely access more restricted areas. This adds security by centralizing access. You manage access through one point, that is the jump server, limiting exposure. Internal servers are not directly accessible from the internet, and providing audit trails, logs, track who accessed what, aiding security investigations. So this is how a jump server looks like. Let's suppose you are somewhere remote and you want to access this database servers through internet. So allowing this database server to be accessed directly through internet is a security hazard. So what the organization will do, that the remote administrator will first log in onto the jump server, and then from jump server he or she can access and manage the organization resources. So this jump server is a centralized access server that is hardened and allows only authorized users and services to be accessed. Question number 6. A company is deploying a firewall to enhance its network security. Security team must choose between a firewall that operates primarily at layer 4 and one that functions at layer 7. What is a key advantage of selecting a layer 7 firewall for the purpose, and why might it be more suitable for the company's needs? And the options are option A layer 7 firewall is faster because it processes less data compared to a layer 4 firewall. Option B, a layer 7 firewall provides application level security, offering more granular control over web traffic. Option C, a layer 7 firewall is easier to configure and requires less maintenance than a layer 4 firewall. And option D, a layer 7 firewall focuses on physical security, protecting network hardware from damage. And the correct option is option B. So a layer 7 firewall provides application level security. Remember, application resides at layer 7, offering more granular control over the web traffic. And the explanation is that a layer 7 firewall, also known as an application layer firewall, operates at the top of the OSI model and provides deep packet inspection. This allows it to understand application protocol like HTTP, HTTPS, FTP, and DNS, etc. Inspect content and context such as specific URLs, user actions, or commands, and apply fine-grained policies based on user identity, application behavior, or content. This makes layer 7 firewalls especially useful for modern network environments where threats often hide within legitimate application traffic. So this is a visual representation of layer 7 firewall. So this is the network traffic, and you can consider this as a layer 7 firewall. So this layer 7 firewall understands the protocols. It can inspect the content flowing through and You can apply application level policies through this firewall, such as, let's suppose you can apply that the HTTP traffic should be blocked while the secure HTTPS traffic will be allowed through this policy application of layer 7 firewall. Question number 7. A corporate security analyst discovers that confidential company information has been leaked online. After investigating, the analyst finds spyware installed on several executives' laptops, which has been capturing keystrokes and screen activity. What is the most likely method through which the spyware was installed on these laptops? And the options are: option A, the executive visited compromised websites that automatically downloaded the spyware. Option B, the company's email server was hacked and spyware was directly installed. Option C, an insider intentionally installed the spyware on the executive's laptops. And option D, the executives use unsecured public Wi-Fi networks leading to the spyware installation. And the correct option is option A. That is, the executives visited compromised websites that automatically downloaded the spyware. And the explanation is, so this is a classic case of a drive-by download attack where simply visiting a malicious or compromised website can trigger the automatic download and installation of spyware without user interaction. This method is common in real-world spyware attacks. Expired vulnerabilities in the browser or plugins, often used to target high-value individuals such as executives. Why other options are less likely? Option B, the company's email server was hacked. So this is unlikely, as hacking the email server would not directly result in spyware installation on laptop. Option C, an insider intentionally installed. So while possible, there is no evidence in the scenario to suggest insider involvement. And option D, the executives use unsecured public Wi-Fi. So public Wi-Fi may expose users to man-in-the-middle attacks, but it does not directly install spyware unless paired with other flights. Question number 8. An IT manager discovers that the organization's data encryption standards are outdated, potentially exposing sensitive data to security risks. Considering the principles of due diligence and care, what is the most appropriate action for the IT manager to take? And the options are: option A, ignore the issue assuming the risk is minimal. Option B, inform senior management and propose updating the encryption standards. Option C, wait for security incident to occur before taking action. And option D, transfer the responsibility to another department. And the correct option is option B, inform the senior management and propose updating the encryption standard. And the explanation is, so under the principles of due diligence, that is being aware of risk, and due care, that is taking action to mitigate those risks, the IT manager is obligated to identify the outdated encryption as a risk, proactively communicate this issue to senior leadership, and recommend updating the standards to align with current best practices and compliance requirements. Why the other options are incorrect? Option A, ignore the issue. This violates both due diligence and due care, exposing the organization to avoidable risk. Option C, wait for a security incident. So reactive behavior shows negligence and may result in legal liability or data breaches. And option D, transfer the responsibility. Avoiding accountability without action breaches professional and ethical responsibilities. Question number 9. An organization's internet-facing website was compromised when an attacker exploited a buffer overflow. Which of the following should the organization deploy to best protect against similar attacks in the future? And the options are option A, NG firewall, that is next generation firewall. Option B, WAF, that is web application firewall. Option C, TLS, that is transport layer security. And option D, SD-WAN, that is software defined wide area network. And the correct option is option B, WAF, that is web application firewall. So this is how a web application firewall works. So let's suppose this is your destination server. These are our clients. And the web application firewall or WAF sits between the server and the client so that it filters all the traffic and only allows the legitimate traffic while block the unnecessary or malicious and suspicious web traffic. So a web or web application firewall acts as a security guard for your web applications. It sits between your web app and the internet, monitoring and filtering traffic. Here is the gist. So it blocks malicious traffic. Web can identify and block attacks like SQL injection and cross-site scripting that trying to steal data or manipulate your application. Focus is on application layer. So unlike firewalls that guard your entire network, web application firewalls specifically target attacks aimed at web application. And it protects from common threats. So web application firewalls are a defense against many well-known web application vulnerabilities. Question number 10. When implementing and managing antivirus solutions in an organizational settings, which two of the following best practices should be prioritized to maximize the effectiveness of the antivirus software? Select two options. And the options are option A, regularly updating the antivirus software with the latest virus definitions and software patches. Option B, disabling real-time scanning to improve system performance. Option C, ensuring that antivirus software is installed on all endpoints, including mobile devices and servers. And option D, limiting user privileges to prevent the installation of unauthorized software. And the correct option is option A, regularly updating the antivirus software with the latest virus definitions and software updates. And option C, ensuring that antivirus software is installed on all endpoints, including mobile devices and servers. And the explanation is, so to maximize the effectiveness of antivirus solutions in an organization, the following best practices are critical. A, regularly updating the software, antivirus software with the latest virus definitions and software pages. This ensures protection against new and evolving threats. And software patches address vulnerabilities in the antivirus program itself, ensuring that antivirus software is installed on all endpoints, including mobile devices and servers. Comprehensive coverage ensures no device becomes a weak point. Mobile devices and servers can be targeted in attacks just like the desktops. Question number 11. During a routine audit, it's discovered that a recent network configuration change, although minor, was implemented without going through the formal approval process. This change inadvertently created a security vulnerability that was exploited, leading to a data breach. What does this incident primarily highlight about the importance of the approval process in change management? And the options are option A, the need for continuous monitoring and automated security systems. Option B, the significance of following protocols for even minor changes. Option C, the importance of regular security training for IT staff. And option D, the relevance of having a robust incident response plan. And the correct option is option B, the significance of following protocols for even minor changes. So the scenario describes a change made without following the formal approval process, which resulted in a security vulnerability and data breach. This directly highlights the importance of adhering to proper change management protocols, even for what may seem like minor modification. Option A, C, and D are generally important for security but are not the primary lesson emphasized by this incident. Question number 12. A financial institution contracts a third party IT firm to upgrade its transaction processing system as outlined in a detailed statement of work or SOW. The SOW includes specific security requirements and deadlines. Halfway through the project, the institution realizes that the firm is not meeting these specified security requirements. What is the most appropriate initial action for the institution to take in this situation? And the options are option A, immediately terminate the contract and seek legal action. Option B, engage in discussion with the firm to address non-compliance with the SOW or statement of work. Option C, overlook the security shortcomings to avoid project delays. And option D, take over the project and complete the upgrade internally. And the correct option is option B, engage in discussion with the firm to address non-compliance with the statement of work. So the most appropriate initial action when a third-party vendor is not meeting contractual requirements is to communicate the issue and attempt to resolve it collaboratively. The SOW is a binding document and the vendor should be held accountable, but engaging in discussions allows the institution to clarify expectations, reinforce compliance, and possibly get the project back on track without escalation. Option A, immediate termination and legal action is a last resort after attempts to resolve the issue fail. Option C, overlooking security issue is negligent and could lead to compliance violations or data breaches. And option D, taking over the project is drastic and may not be feasible without breaching the contract. So option B demonstrates due diligence and good vendor management. Question number 13. An organization's email security system automatically quarantines a batch of emails that are suspected of containing phishing links. Upon manual review, the IT team finds that some of these emails are legitimate business communications. What is the most likely reason for this misclassification, and what action should the organization take to prevent such occurrences in the future? And the options are option A, inadequate spam filters, update email security's spam filter settings. Option B, overly aggressive quarantine settings, fine tune the email security system's heuristics. Option C, lack of user training, conduct a phishing awareness training program. And option D, malfunctioning antivirus software, replace the antivirus solution. And the correct option is option B, overly aggressive quarantine settings, fine tune the email security system heuristics. So the issue described is false positives, that is, legitimate email being incorrectly flagged as phishing. This most commonly occurs when the email security system heuristics or filtering thresholds are too strict. Fine tuning these settings helps improve accuracy and reduce disruptions to legitimate business communication. Option A is incorrect because it's not about inadequate filtering but over filtering. Option C relates to user behavior, not system level misclassification. And option D is unrelated. Antivirus software is not responsible for email quarantine rules. Therefore, option B addresses both the cause and the best corrective action. Question number 14. A small business has recently implemented a new customer relationship management, that is CRM system. After a data breach, it is found that sensitive customer data was exposed. In this scenario, who should be identified as the risk owner for the CRM system and what action should they prioritize? And the options are: option A, the customer service manager focusing on customer communication and support. Option B, the sales manager concentrating on mitigating potential sales impact. Option C, the IT administrator focusing on securing the CRM system and preventing future breaches. And option D, the marketing manager focusing on reputation management and public relations. And the correct option is option C, the IT administrator focusing on securing the CRM system and preventing future breaches. And the explanation is: so the risk owner is the individual responsible for managing and mitigating risks associated with a specific asset, in this case, the CRM system. Since this system involves technical infrastructure and data security, the IT administrator is best positioned to understand the technical vulnerabilities and implement security controls. Option A, customer service manager is responsible for handling affected customers but not for managing the technical risk. Option B, sales manager may face business impact but is not responsible for system security. And option D, marketing manager may handle PR, that is public relation, but again, not the risk owner of the system itself. So thus option C is the correct and most appropriate choice. Question number 15. An online retailer has noticed a pattern of fraudulent transactions originating from certain IP addresses. To effectively monitor and identify such activities in the future, which detective control should the security team focus on implementing? And the options are: option A, installing a web application firewall, that is WAF. Option B, setting up a system for real-time transaction monitoring. Option C, implementing two-factor authentication for customer logins. And option D, conducting regular vulnerability assessments. And the correct option is option B, setting up a system for real-time transaction monitoring. And the explanation is: so detective controls are designed to identify and alert on suspicious activities after they occur or while they are in progress. A real-time transaction monitoring system helps detect fraudulent patterns such as repeated transactions from flagged IP addresses and enables timely responses. Option A, WAF, that is Web Application Firewall, is a preventive control that blocks malicious web traffic. Option C, two-factor authentication, is also a preventive control aimed at securing logins. And option D, vulnerability assessments are proactive but not detective. In this context, they help find weaknesses, not detect ongoing fraud. Therefore, B is the correct detective control to address the issue. Question number 16. A security analyst is reviewing the following logs. So these are the logs. As we can see, some users are trying to log in, but the logins are rejected. We have different login names, but same password is used against different login names. So which of the following attacks is most likely occurring where same password is checked or tested against different login names? The options are option A, password spraying, option B, account forgery, option C, pass the hash, and option D, brute force. And the correct option is option A, password spraying. So what is password spraying? So the log shows multiple usernames being attempted with the same password, that is string 2023. This pattern is the characteristic of a password spraying attack where an attacker tries a common password across many accounts to avoid account lockout mechanisms. Option B, account forgery involves creating fake accounts, not what's happening there. Option C, pass the hash is an attack using hash values, not plain text passwords. And option D, brute force usually targets one account with many passwords, not multiple accounts with one password. So password spraying is using one password against many users, and brute force is using one user and testing it or checking it against many passwords. So option A is most likely attack occurring based on the logs, that is password spraying. Question number 17. During a security training session, a company emphasizes the importance of verifying the identity of callers requesting sensitive information. The trainer highlights a recent case where an attacker impersonating a vendor obtained confidential contract details over the phone. This scenario underscores the necessity of which security best practice to prevent similar voice call based attacks. And the options are option A, using caller ID verification, option B, implementing strict call logging procedures, option C, enforcing a policy of not discussing sensitive information over the phone, and option D, establishing a verification process for phone call requests. And the correct option is option D, establishing a verification process for phone call requests. And the explanation is, so the attack described is a form of social engineering, specifically phishing, that is voice phishing, where attackers impersonate trusted individuals over the phone to extract sensitive information. The most effective best practice to prevent such attacks is to verify the identity of the caller using a defined process. For example, callbacks to official numbers, asking for pre-established codes, and internal validation, etc. So option A, caller ID can be spoofed and is not reliable on its own. Option B, call logging helps in audits but does not prevent attacks. And option C, blanket policy is impractical for many business functions. So therefore, option D is the most appropriate and effective preventive measure. Question number 18. An engineer needs to find a solution that creates an added layer of security by preventing unauthorized access to internal company resources. Which of the following would be the best solution? And the options are option A, RDP server, option B, jump server, option C, proxy server, and option D, hypervisor. And the correct option is option B, jump server. So we already studied about jump server in a previous question. And the explanation is, so a jump server or jump box acts as a secure intermediary between external networks and internal company systems. It requires users to authenticate before they can access internal resources, thereby adding a layer of security and controlling access to sensitive systems. Option A, RDP server provides remote access but does not add a separate security boundary. Option C, proxy server handles traffic routing and filtering, not internal resources access control. And option D, hypervisor manages virtual machines, not access control for internal resources. So jump server is best for secure, controlled access to internal systems. Question number 19, an internet service provider, that is ISP, implements software-defined networking, that is SDN, to dynamically manage its network traffic and provide customized services. With the increasing threat of cyber attacks, what is the most effective strategy to ensure the security of the SDN architecture against potential vulnerabilities? And the options are option A, limiting the use of SDN to non-critical network segments only. Option B, regularly updating and patching the SDN software components. Option C, increasing the bandwidth of the network to handle more traffic. And option D, relying on client-side security measures to protect the network. And the correct option is option B, regularly updating and patching the SDN software components. And the explanation is, so in a software-defined networking SDN architecture, the control plane is centralized and software-driven, making it a critical target for attackers. The most effective security strategy is to regularly patch and update the SDN software to fix known vulnerabilities and protect against exploits. Option A, limiting the SDN use reduces benefits without truly addressing the vulnerabilities. Option C, increasing bandwidth is unrelated to security. And option D, relying on client-side security neglects protecting the SDN's own infrastructure. So option B ensures the SDN systems remain resilient against evolving threats. Question number 20, a company's IT department is implementing a new password storage system for enhanced security. To safeguard the password against potential breaches, the IT department must choose an appropriate method for storing them. Which of the following is the most secure ways to store user passwords? And the options are option A, storing passwords in plain text in a secured database. Option B, encrypting passwords using asymmetric encryption algorithm. Option C, hashing passwords using a strong cryptographic hash function. And option D, saving passwords in an encrypted file with a master password. And the correct option is option C, hashing password using a strong cryptographic hash function. And the explanation is, so the most secure and widely recommended method for storing passwords is to hash them using a strong one-way cryptographic hash function, for example, bcrypt, argon2, or pbkdf2. This ensures that even if the password database is compromised, the plain text password cannot be easily retrieved. Option A, plain text storage is highly insecure even in a secured database. Option B, symmetric encryption allows decryption, which poses a risk if the key is exposed. And option D, encrypted file with a master password still relies on reversible encryption and centralized risk. So hashing plus salting is the best practice for protecting stored password. Question number 21. In an effort to maintain compliance with industry regulations, a financial institution has implemented automated guardrails to manage configurations and access rights in its cloud environment. After deploying a new application, it was found that the application could not connect to a critical database. What should the IT team investigate first to resolve this issue? And the options are option A, the automated guardrails setting for overly restrictive configurations. Option B, the application code for potential bugs. Option C, the physical server hardware for faults. And option D, the employee training program for gaps in cloud knowledge. And the correct option is option A, the automated guardrail setting for overly restrictive configurations. And the explanation is, so the scenario involves a new application that cannot connect to a critical database, and the organization recently implemented automated guardrails to control configurations and access. These guardrails may be too restrictive, inadvertently blocking necessary access. Option B, application code is secondary. If access is blocked by guardrails, the code won't matter. Option C, hardware faults is irrelevant in a cloud-based context. And option D, training programs won't directly fix the immediate connectivity issue. So the first step is to check the guardrails, for example, identity and access management roles, security groups, and firewall rules to ensure they are not denying needy access. Question number 22. A security analyst is reviewing alerts in the SIEM related to potential malicious network traffic coming from an employee's corporate laptop. The security analyst has determined that additional data about the executable running on the machine is necessary to continue the investigation. Which of the following logs should the analyst use as a data source? And the options are option A, application, option B, IPS/IDS, that is intrusion prevention system and intrusion detection system, option C, network, and option D, endpoint. And the correct option is option D, endpoint. And the explanation is, so to investigate a potentially malicious executable running on a specific machine, the analyst needs detailed visibility into the processes and behavior on the endpoint itself, that is the employee's laptop. Endpoint logs from EDR tools or local logging agents provide information like executable names and paths, process activity, file creation or modification, registry changes, and user activity on the system. Why the other options are incorrect? Option A, application refers to logs from installed application, for example, Office custom applications, which are not likely to provide detailed process level information on malware. Option B, IPS and IDS focuses on network-based intrusion detection and prevention, which is good for identifying suspicious traffic but not process level details. And option C, network provides insight into traffic patterns, not what executable is responsible for generating them. To understand what executable is running and what it's doing, endpoint logs are the right source. Question number 23. A physical security assessment of a corporate office building reveals that emergency exits are not clearly marked and some are obstructed. This poses a safety risk to employees. What is the most appropriate action for the company to take in response to this finding? And the options are option A, installing additional CCTV cameras throughout the building. Option B, conducting a comprehensive review and update of emergency evacuation procedures. Option C, implementing a key card access system for all doors. And option D, designating a security officer to monitor emergency exits. And the correct option is option B, conducting a comprehensive review and update of emergency evacuation procedures. So the core issue identified is that emergency exits are not clearly marked and are obstructed, which directly affects the safety and evacuation capability of employees in the event of an emergency. The most appropriate response is to review, update, and enforce proper evacuation procedures, including ensuring all exits are clearly marked and unobstructed, conducting regular safety drills, and complying with fire and building codes. Why the other options are less appropriate? Option A, CCTV cameras enhance surveillance but do not address the safety and usability of emergency exits. Option C, key card access systems improve access control, not emergency egress. And option D, assigning a security officer may help, but it's a reactive measure, not a systematic fix. So, clear functional emergency exits and updated evacuation procedures are critical to life safety compliance. Question number 24. A company purchased cyber insurance to address items listed on the risk register. Which of the following strategies does this represent? And the options are option A, accept, option B, transfer, option C, mitigate, and option D, avoid. And the correct option is option B, transfer. So, purchasing cyber insurance is a classic example of risk transfer strategy. Instead of bearing the full financial impact of a cyber incident, the company shifts, that is, transfers that risk to insurance provider who will cover certain costs if an incident occurs. The breakdown of the other options. Option A, accept, the company acknowledges the risk and chooses to do nothing. Option C, mitigate, the company takes steps to reduce the likelihood or impact of the risk, that is, through firewalls or through training. And option D, avoid, the company eliminates the risk entirely, often by not engaging in the risky activity. So, insurance is basically the transfer of financial risk to a third party through the purchase of cyber insurance. Question number 25. What are the key considerations when using a wildcard SSL/TLS certificate for a domain and its subdomains? Select two options. Option A, the certificate's ability to secure multiple subdomains under a single domain. Option B, the color scheme of the websites using the wildcard certificates. Option C, the need for consistent security practices across all subdomains. And option D, the preference for specific web hosting services. And the correct options are option A, the certificate's ability to secure multiple subdomains under a single domain. And option C, the need for consistent security practices across all subdomains. And the explanation is, so option A, wildcard SSL/TLS certificates are designed to ensure to secure a primary domain and all of its first level subdomains. For example, static.example.com. This reduces management overhead and simplifies deployment. Option C, since all subdomains share the same certificate, a vulnerability in one subdomain can affect all others. Therefore, it's essential to apply consistent security practices across all subdomains to minimize risk. What are the incorrect options? Option B, the color scheme of websites has no relevance to SSL/TLS certificates. And option D, while some hosting services may have preferences, wildcard certificates are not tied to specific hosts. Question number 26. A multinational corporation uses key escrow to manage the encryption keys of its overseas branches. Due to legal requirements in different countries, The corporation must be able to provide encrypted data to law enforcement upon request. How does key escrow assist in meeting these legal obligations? And the options are option A by decentralizing key management to each branch, option B by encrypting all data transmissions between branches, option C by providing a backup of all encryption keys, and option D by enabling authorized retrieval of encryption keys. And the correct option is option D by enabling authorized retrieval of encryption keys. And the explanation is so key escrow is a security arrangement where encryption keys are stored securely by a trusted third party or system, allowing authorized entities such as law enforcement to retrieve those keys when legally required. This supports compliance with data disclosure laws in various jurisdictions. So why the other options are incorrect? Option A, decentralizing key management is unrelated to key escrow, which centralizes key storage for controlled access. Option B, key escrow is about key storage, not encrypting transmissions. And option C, while backups may be part of the system, the key point is controlled access, not just backup. So key escrow is basically controlled and authorized access to encryption keys when required. Question number 27. An IT manager informs the entire help desk staff that only the IT manager and the help desk lead will have access to the administrator console of the help desk software. Which of the following security techniques is the IT manager setting up? And the correct options are option A, hardening, option B, employee monitoring, option C, configuration enforcement, and option D, least privilege. And the correct option is option D, least privilege. So, least privilege is a security principle that ensures users are granted only the minimum access rights necessary to perform their job functions. By restricting admin console access to only the IT manager and help desk lead, the manager is limiting elevated privileges to only those who truly need them. The other options, so option A, hardening involves reducing system vulnerabilities, for example, disabling unnecessary services, closing ports, not access control. Option B, employee monitoring refers to tracking user activity, not restricting access. And option C, configuration enforcement applies to maintaining system settings or baselines, not access levels. So, restricting access is applying the principle of least privilege. Question number 28. Which of the following is the most likely to be used to document risks, responsible parties for those risks, and the threshold of these risks? And the options are option A, risk tolerance, option B, risk transfer, option C, risk register, and option D, risk analysis. And the correct option is option C, risk register. So, what is a risk register? A risk register is a formal document used to identify, assess, and track risks. It typically includes description of risk, responsible parties for those risks, that is, risk owner, risk levels or thresholds, mitigation strategies, and risk status updates. Question number 29. A corporate security analyst discovered that confidential company information has been leaked online. After investigating, the analyst found spyware installed on several executives' laptops, which has been capturing keystrokes and screen activity. What is the most likely method through which the spyware was installed on these laptops? So I think this question, we have already gone through this same question, but let me reread and reiterate it so that you remember it. Option A, the executive visited compromised website that automatically downloaded the spyware. Option B, the company's email server was hacked and spyware was directly installed. Option C, an insider intentionally installed the spyware on the executive laptops. And option D, the executive used unsecured public Wi-Fi networks leading to the spyware installation. And so this is a test. You must also remember the correct option. And the correct option was option A, the executive visited compromised websites that automatically downloaded the spyware. So the most likely method for spyware installation in this scenario is a drive-by download, where visiting a compromised malicious website causes spyware to be downloaded and installed without user interaction. Executives are common targets for such attacks due to their access to sensitive data, while the other options are less likely. Option B, email server hacked. While email can be a vector for malware, there is no indication that email was involved or that malware was put directly this way. Option C, insider threat is possible but less likely unless there is evidence of intentional misuse or insider access. And option D, unsecured Wi-Fi. Using public Wi-Fi may expose traffic but does not directly lead to spyware installation unless combined with other attacks. So, drive-by download from compromised websites remain a common and plausible method for spyware infection, especially for high-profile users such as CEO or other executives. Question number 30. A company is expanding its threat surface program and allowing individuals to security test the company's internet facing application. The company will compensate researchers based on the vulnerabilities discovered. Which of the following best describes the program the company is setting up? And the options are option A, open source intelligence, option B, bug bounty, option C, red team, and option D, penetration testing. And the correct option is option B, bug bounty program. So a bug bounty program is a structured initiative where a company invites external researchers, often ethical hackers, to find and report vulnerabilities in its system, typically offering financial rewards based on the severity of the findings. So why the other options are incorrect? Option A, open source intelligent or OSINT involves gathering publicly available information, not actively testing systems. Option C, red teams refers to internal or hard offensive security teams that simulate real-world attacks, usually without prior notice. And option D, penetration testing is a formal scope assessment usually done by contracted professionals, not open to the public. So, bug bounty is equal to external security testing with rewards for vulnerability discoveries. Question number 31. Which of the following threat actors is the most likely to use large financial resources to attack critical systems located in other countries? And the options are option A, insider, option B, unskilled attacker, option C, nation state, and option D, activist. And the correct option is option C, nation state. So a nation state threat actor is typically backed by a government and has access to significant financial, technical, and human resources. These actors often target critical infrastructure or systems in other countries for purposes such as espionage, disruption, or strategic advantage. Why the other options are incorrect? Option A, insider operates from within the organization and usually does not target foreign systems. Option B, unskilled attacker, also known as a script kiddie, lacks the capability for complex or well-funded attacks. And option D, hacktivist is motivated by ideology, not typically well-funded and less likely to conduct advanced cross-border attacks on critical systems. So, nation state actors are sophisticated, well resourced, and capable of high impact international cyber attacks. Question 32. A healthcare provider is audited for compliance with Health Ensure Probability and Accountability Act, that is HIPAA. The audit reveals that patient records are accessible by all staff members and there is no tracking of who accesses the records. Which two of the following measures would the healthcare provider implement to address these compliance issues? Select two options, and the options are option A, encrypt all patient records. Option B, implement role-based access control. Option C, conduct regular security awareness training for staff. And option D, establish audit logs for access to patient records. And the correct options are option B, implement role-based access control. And option D, implement establish audit logs for access to patient records. And the explanation is, so under HIPAA, healthcare provider must limit access to protected health information, that is PHI, and track who accesses it. So option B, role-based access control or RBAC ensures that only authorized personnel based on their job function can access patient records, reducing unnecessary exposure. And option D, audit logs provide the ability to monitor and trace access to patient data, helping detect unauthorized data access and supporting compliance audits. Why the other options are in why the others are less appropriate for this issue? Option A, encrypt all patient records. While encryption is important for data security, it does not control or track access within the system. And option C, security awareness training is helpful for general compliance but does not directly fix the issue of unrestricted and untracked access. So HIPAA compliance is minimum necessary access plus accountability through auditing. Question number 33. After a series of unexpected security incidents, a company is enhancing its incident response plan. Which two of the following actions should be included to effectively prepare for and respond to unexpected security incidents? Select two options, and the options are option A, conducting regular disaster recovery and business continuity drills. Option B, installing more surveillance cameras throughout the company premises. Option C, training employees on the identification and reporting of security incidents. And option D, ensuring all employees have unrestricted access to incident response documentation. And the correct options are option A, conducting regular disaster recovery and business continuity drills. And option C, training employees on the identification and reporting of security incidents. So, to effectively prepare for and respond to unexpected security incidents, a company should focus on proactive planning and employee readiness. Option A, disaster recovery and business continuity drills. These ensure that systems and teams are ready to respond quickly and effectively when incidents occur, minimizing the downtime and impact. And option C, employee training equips staff with the knowledge to recognize and report incidents early, which is crucial for limiting damage. Why the other options are less appropriate? So option B, surveillance cameras help with physical security but does not directly address broader incident response for cyber threats. And option D, unrestricted access to incident response documentation increases the risk of misuse or unintentional disclosure. Access should be limited to relevant personnel. So effective incident response is equal to prepared team plus practiced procedures. Question number 34. When assessing the security features of a trusted platform module that is TPM, which of the following functionalities are directly related to the capabilities of the TPM? Select two options. And the options are option A, generating and storing cryptographic keys. Option B, scanning files for viruses and malware. Option C, providing hardware-based attestation of the system's integrity. And option D, optimizing the performance of the operating system. And the correct options are option A, generating and storing cryptographic keys, and option C, providing hardware-based attestation of the system's integrity. And the explanation is, so option A, generating and storing cryptographic keys. So TPM or trusted platform modules are specifically designed to securely generate, store, and manage cryptographic keys in the hardware. This is one of their core functions. Option C, providing hardware-based attestation of the system's integrity. So TPMs can measure and report on the integrity of the system during boot, for example, BIOS or bootloader, to ensure no tampering has occurred. This is known as remote attestation. Incorrect options. Option B, scanning files for viruses and malware. This is a function of antivirus software, not TPM. And option D, optimizing the performance of the operating system. So TPM does not optimize system performance. It's focused on security, not performance. Question number 35. A newly appointed board member with cybersecurity knowledge wants the board of directors to receive a quarterly report detailing the number of incidents that impacted the organization. The systems administrator is creating a way to present the data to the board of directors. Which of the following should the systems administrator use? And the options are option A, packet captures, option B, vulnerability scans, option C, metadata, and option D, dashboard. And the correct option is option D, dashboard. And the explanation is, so a dashboard is a best tool for presenting high level summaries and visualization of data specifically for non-technical stakeholders like a board of directors. It can show metrics such as number of incidents per quarter, severity and types of incidents, trends over time, and response and resolution times. Why the other options are incorrect? Option A, packet capture is too technical and low level. These are raw network data used by analysts for deep inspection. Option B, vulnerability scans. These show potential weaknesses, not actual incidents or their impact. And option C, metadata. Metadata is descriptive data about other data, for example, timestamps, file origin, not a clear summary of the incidents. Question number 36. A file integrity monitoring tool has alerted a system administrator that the hash of cmd.exe has changed. The administrator reviews operating system logs and confirms that no patches have been applied in the past 2 months. What is the most probable cause of this change? And the options are option A, a snapshot of the file system was taken. Option B, the end user changed the file permission. Option C, a rootkit was deployed. And option D, a cryptographic collision was detected. And the correct option is option C, a rootkit was deployed. So a change in the hash of cmd.exe is a core Windows system file without any legitimate updates or patches is a strong indicator of tampering or malware infection. Rootkits are advanced forms of malware that often replace or modify system binaries like cmd.exe to hide their presence or maintain control. Why other options are incorrect? Option A snapshot of the file system was taken. So taking a snapshot does not change the file contents or hashes. Option B, the end user changed the file permission. Changing permission also does not alter the file's content or hash. And option D, a cryptographic collision was detected. So collision in modern secure hashing algorithms like SHA-256 are extremely rare and not a practical explanation here. Question number 37, in NIaaS, that is Infrastructure as a Service Cloud environment, considering the shared responsibility model, which entity is accountable for the security of the company's database? And the options are option A, third party vendor, option B, DBA, that is database administrator, option C, cloud provider, and option D, client. And the correct option is option D, client. So in the IaaS, that is infrastructure as a service model, the cloud provider is responsible for securing the infrastructure, for example, networking, storage, and compute resources. But everything built on top of that, like the operating system, databases, and application, is the responsibility of the client. So the client is ultimately accountable for the security of their database, including the database access controls, encryption, patching the database software, and backup and recovery. Question number 38. A client has requested a document from a security company that covers the project scope, pricing, and timeline. Which document is most appropriate for the company to furnish? The options are option A, MSA, option B, SLA, option C, BPA, and option D, SOW. And the correct option is option D, SOW, that is statement of work. So a statement of work or SOW is the appropriate document because it defines the project scope, outlines the deliverables and timelines, include pricing and payment terms, describes responsibilities of both parties, and it is commonly used in service contracts to clearly communicate what is being delivered, when, and at what cost. Why the other options are incorrect? Option A, MSA, that is Master Service Agreement, covers general terms and conditions for ongoing business relationships, not specific project details. Option B, SLA, that is Service Level Agreement, defines service performances metrics like uptime, response time, not pricing or project scope. And option C, BPA, that is Business Partner Agreement, is used to define long-term business relationships, not project-specific details. Question number 39, a penetration test report shows that a web application form field is susceptible to cross-site scripting. To mitigate this vulnerability, which application security technique should the security analyst advise the developer to implement? And the options are option A, version control, option B, code signing, option C, secure cookies, and option D, input validation. And the correct option is option D, input validation. So cross-site scripting or XSS vulnerabilities occur when untrusted user input is processed and reflected back into a web page without proper sanitization. The most effective mitigation is to validate and sanitize input to ensure that no malicious scripts can be injected. So input validation involves checking and cleaning user supplied data to ensure it conforms to expected formats and types, preventing injection of harmful code. Why the other options are incorrect? Option A, version control helps track code changes, not prevent vulnerabilities like XSS. Option B, code signing ensures code integrity and authenticity, not input sanitization. And option C, secure cookies protects cookies from unauthorized access but does not address XSS or cross-site scripting in form fields. Question number 40, which of the following must be considered when designing a high availability network? Choose two options, and the options are option A, ease of recovery, option B, ability to patch, option C, physical isolation, option D, responsiveness, option E, attack surface, and option F, extensible authentication. And the correct options are option A, ease of recovery, and option D, responsiveness. So when designing a high availability network, the goal is to ensure minimal downtime and continuous service availability. Key considerations include ease of recovery. So systems should recover quickly from failures. This includes automatic failover, redundancy, and backups to ensure services are restored with minimal disruption. And responsiveness is a highly available network must maintain low latency and fast response times even under failure conditions or during rerouting. Question number 41. Before applying a high priority patch to a production system, what is the initial step a technician take? And the options are option A, air gap the system, option B, move systems to a different network segment, option C, create a change control request, and option D, apply the patch to the system. And the correct option is option C, create a change control request. And the explanation is, so before making changes to a production system, especially applying a high priority patch, it is essential to follow proper procedures. The first step is to create a change control request. So this ensures that the change is documented, reviewed, and approved and communicated to all stakeholders. It also includes risk assessment, scheduling, testing plans, and rollback procedures if something goes wrong. So why the other options are incorrect? Option A, air gap the system. So drastic and unnecessary unless responding to an active compromise. And option B, move the system to a different network segment. This may be part of containment or mitigation plan, not the first step for a routine patch. And option D, apply the patch to the system. So skipping the change control could result in unplanned downtime, conflicts, or audit issues. Question number 42, during incident response, what is the primary purpose of conducting a root cause analysis? And the options are option A, to eradicate any trace of malware on the network, option B, to discover which systems have been affected, option C, to prevent future incidents of the same nature, and option D, together indicators of compromise for the investigation. And the correct option is option C, to prevent future incidents of the same nature. So the primary purpose of a root cause analysis during incident response is to identify the underlying cause of the incident, not just the symptoms. Use that information to improve defenses, close gaps, and prevent recurrence of similar incidents. So root cause analysis focuses on long-term solutions rather than short-term fixes. So why the other options are incorrect? Option A, to eradicate any trace of malware on the network. So this is part of eradication, not root cause analysis. Option B, to discover which systems have been affected. This is part of scoping the incident done earlier in the response process. And option D, together indicators of compromises for the investigation. So gathering indicators of compromise helps in detection and investigation, but not the main goal of root cause analysis. Question number 43. A user within a company network tries to access www.testsite.com and receives a certificate mismatch warning in their browser, but experiences no such issues when visiting www.anothertestsite.com. What type of attack does this scenario describe? And the options are option A, evil twin, option B, on path, option C, domain hijacking, and option D, DNS poisoning. And the correct option is option D, DNS poisoning. So in this scenario, the user receives a certificate mismatch warning when accessing an HTTPS site, which typically indicates that the domain does not match the certificate presented, which is a strong sign of DNS poisoning, also known as DNS spoofing. DNS poisoning involves altering DNS records to redirect user to malicious or unauthorized servers. When the browser attempts an HTTPS connection to the spoofed IP, the SSL/TLS certificate does not match the expected domain, triggering a mismatch warning. So why the other options are incorrect? Option A, evil twins refer to a rogue Wi-Fi access point mimicking a legitimate one. Option B, on-path or man in the middle involves intercepting traffic between two parties, but it does not typically cause certificate mismatch unless combined with other attacks like DNS spoofing. And option C, domain hijacking involves taking over control of a domain name, usually at the registrar level, not just altering DNS resolution locally or via poisoning. Question number 44. To prevent users from accessing unauthorized removable media, which of the following tools is most effective? And the options are option A, cable lock, option B, Faraday cage, option C, USB data blocker, and option D, proximity reader. And the correct option is option C, USB data blocker. So USB data blocker is a physical device that connects between a USB port and a USB device to block data transfer while still allowing power to pass through. This effectively prevents unauthorized data access or exfiltration from removable media like USB drives. It is most effective when users are allowed to charge devices but should not transfer or access data. You want to prevent access to or from unauthorized USB storage devices. Why the other options are incorrect? Option A, cable lock prevents physical theft of equipment, not data transfer via USB. Option B, Faraday cage blocks all wireless signals, not USB or removable media access. And option D, proximity reader used for physical access control, for example, doors, not removable media control. Question number 45. Which of the following best exemplifies a social engineering tactic that preys on an individual's feeling of urgency? And the options are option A, a smishing message stating a package is scheduled for pickup. Option B, a phishing email stating a case settlement has been awarded but will expire soon. Option C, a spam notification claiming to be undercover law enforcement investigating cybercrime. And option D, a phishing call that requests a donation to be made to a local charity. And the correct option is option B, a phishing email stating a case settlement has been awarded but will expire soon. So why this is correct option? So this example clearly uses urgency as a social engineering tactic. It pressures the target to act quickly before they have time to think critically or verify the legitimacy. The message creates fear of missing out, that is FOMO, by saying the settlement will expire soon, prompting impulsive action. Why the other options are less accurate? Option A, smishing about package pickup. So praise more on curiosity or convenience, not urgency. Option C, spin from law enforcement, relies more on fear and authority, not urgency. And option D, wishing call for charity donation, uses empathy or guilt, not specifically urgency. Question 46. A security analyst, while investigating an application breach through logs, discovers the following entry. So, this is the entry that the security analyst discovers. So, what type of attacks has been identified? The options are option A, cross-site scripting, option B, DLL injection, option C, API attack, and option D, SQL injection. And the correct option is option D, SQL injection. So the log entry shows a classic SQL injection pattern. This payload is attempting to manipulate the SQL query by injecting R1 is equal to 1, which is a true condition. If the input is not properly sanitized, it can cause the application to bypass authentication or expose data. Why the other options are incorrect? Option A, cross-site scripting involves injecting JavaScript or HTML, not SQL. Option B, DLL injection, a technique used to inject malicious dynamic link libraries into processes unrelated to web URLs or SQL queries. And option D, option C, API attack. While API attacks can include SQL injection, this is not specifically an API request, but rather a web form injection. Question number 47. An audit revealed that personally identifiable information, that is PII, is being used in the development environment of a crucial application. Chief Privacy Officer, that is CPO, insists on its removal, but developers are concerned that real data is essential for functionality testing and specific data searching. What is the most effective solution a security professional can implement to meet both the CPO's directive and the development team's needs? And the options are option A, data tokenization, option B, data encryption, option C, data anonymization, and option D, data masking. And the correct option is option D, data masking. So data masking is the most effective solution in this case because it replaces the real personally identifiable information with realistic but fictional data preserving the structure and format needed for development and testing. It ensures compliance with privacy regulations by preventing exposure of actual sensitive data, and it allows developers to test functionality and perform data searches using masked data that behaves similarly to real data. Question number 48. A company is developing a data loss prevention solution, that is DLP solution, on its file server, which contains PII, that is personally identifiable information, financial and health data. The company intends to apply different DLP rules based on the type of data. What is the crucial first step the company should take to achieve this objective? And the options are: option A, assign the application owner; option B, perform a risk analysis; option C, classify the data; and option D, mask the data. And the correct option is option C, classify the data. So the crucial first step in applying different DLP rules based on the type of data, for example, PII, financial or health data, is to classify the data. This means identifying and labeling data types according to the sensitivity and compliance requirements so that DLP policies can be tailored appropriately for each data category. Without classification, the DLP solution won't know how to treat different types of data. Why the other options are incorrect? Option A, assign the application owner. Important for accountability, but not the first technical step towards enforcing DLP policies. Option B, perform a risk analysis. It helps understand overall risk but does not enable technical enforcement of DLP rules by data type. And option D, mask the data. It is a mitigation step, not helpful unless data has already been classified and you know which data to mask. Question number 49. A report delivered to the Chief Information Security Officer, that is CISO, shows that some user credentials should be exfiltrated. The report also indicates that users tend to choose the same credentials on different systems and applications. Which of the following policies should the CISO use to prevent someone from using the exfiltrated credentials? And the options are: option A, MFA, that is multi-factor authentication; option B, lockout; option C, time-based logins; and option D, password history. And the correct option is option A, MFA, that is multi-factor authentication. So when user credentials are exfiltrated and reused across multiple systems, the best defense is multi-factor authentication, or MFA. MFA adds a second layer of security beyond just a username and password, such as one-time code, biometric verification, or smart token. Even if an attacker steals valid credentials, MFA prevents access without the second factor. It directly addresses the risk of credential reuse and credential theft. Why the other options are less effective? Option B, lockout, prevents brute force attacks but does not stop attackers with valid stolen credentials. Option C, time-based logins, restrict access to certain times but does not prevent credential abuse outside those times if within allowed windows. And option D, password history, prevents users from reusing the old password but does not stop attackers from using current stolen credentials. Question number 50. A large enterprise is optimizing its network infrastructure with the implementation of load balancers. The network team is tasked with configuring the load balancer to enhance both performance and security. Which two of the following configurations should be applied to achieve these objectives? Select two options, and the options are option A, configuring the load balancers for content-based routing to efficiently distribute specific types of traffic. Option B, setting up the load balancer to double as antivirus scanners for incoming traffic. Option C, implementing health checks on the load balancer to ensure traffic is sent to operational servers. And option D, using the load balancer to perform rate limiting to prevent excessive traffic from overwhelming the servers. And the correct options are option A, configuring the load balancers for content-based routing to efficiently distribute specific types of traffic. And option C, implementing health checks on the load balancer to ensure traffic is sent to the operational servers. The explanation is, so option A, the content-based routing has the performance benefits, so routes traffic based on content. That is URL paths, headers, ensuring requests are handled by the most suitable servers. This helps optimize resource usage and response times. Health checks, reliability benefit ensures traffic is only sent to healthy operational servers, preventing downtime and degraded performance. It improves availability and overall network resilience. So that's all for this video. Please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video on the Security Plus practice questions. Also, if you want to learn the basics or go through the content of Security Plus, I will give the links of my free Security Plus course in the description, where you can go through the course and watch the content if you want to learn the basics. Thank you and see you in the next video.